been a very, very difficult and challenging day for all of us. Emotionally, it's a roller coaster coming to Auschwitz. And physically, the heat that's been pounding on our heads, as already Ellie said a moment ago, itself represents a fraction, a drop of what our friends, our families, our brothers and sisters went through for the months that they were here. Behind us is probably one of the most devastating parts of all of Auschwitz, and that is a crematoria where our brothers and sisters were burned after they were killed in the gas chambers, or died from diseases, or from beatings, or from torture. You know, even the word Auschwitz itself has begun to represent for us the concept of a Holocaust. The concept of torture, the concept of evil really wraps around this idea of Auschwitz-Birkenau that we spent the past couple of hours in. Actually, Auschwitz is just one location. We know they're discovering all the time there were actually hundreds of camps all over Poland, all over Europe, that were used to eliminate Jews. This one, however, has begun to represent the Holocaust because of just the sheer enormity of this location. Over 1 million men, women, and children were killed and burnt here in Auschwitz. And over the entire Holocaust, 1 million children were killed. How can it be? I mean, I've heard people be coming up to you all day. I can't wrap my head around it. This is my 5th time here, and I speak to guards as well and guides as well, and it's hard to get your head around it. It makes no sense. But there's been studies, and one thing that we've seen that comes up again and again is that before someone is able to perpetrate such a vile action upon another person, one thing they always need to do is to dehumanize them, is to make them into vermin in their minds, or dehumanize them in terms of their control, the fear, the Jew with all his money. And they've called the Jews everything over the years, over the centuries. They've called us money-grabbing controllers, the protocols of Zion, and they've called us the rat, the vermin that deserve to be destroyed. One thing they've never, ever called the Jewish people is stupid. That's one thing that no one has ever had the chutzpah to call us as a nation. And one of the clever things that we've done and keep trying to do is to keep this memory alive in the world. Because as I mentioned by Majdanek, and I think it's more applicable here because the sheer enormity, is the constant threat that our people are feeling. Just on Sunday, July 4th, there was a neo-Nazi event in London. Actually, I was going to put it in the Jewish area where my family lives. It was a small event. I don't believe that's the threat. I believe there's a bigger threat that is making its way through the world, which is destroying and planning on destroying many more Jewish people today. And that is something that we have to constantly be aware of. What do? What are we meant to do? We go home, we carry on, we're going to carry on with our jobs. I teach classes, I teach college, you guys go to work, you're teachers, you work in finance. A lot of Jews here, right? We're working in finance, we do what we need to do, we're doctors, we're dentists. What are we going to do with our lives? How do we answer anti-Semitism? What's the solution? We pontificate, we watch the news, we're like, oh, it's terrible, and then we change the channel. I want to suggest one idea to you, if you don't mind. There is maybe one thing we can do to fight anti-Semitism, and that is Semitism. One thing that we know that has worked over the centuries, that has kept our people alive physically and emotionally and spiritually, is the idea of being more Semitism. Meaning more knowledge, more understanding, an appreciation of our people, appreciation of our heritage, our culture, our language, our land, Israel. If we can do one thing, 2015 in America today, is to show that we are part of our people. And just saying it and wearing a Magen David, a star, or a chai, or a chamsa, as everyone seems to be doing, although non-Jews are doing that as well. One thing we can do is to learn more what we are as a people. Because as we saw from the photos in the building in Canada a few moments ago, these people are engaged. They were part of their communities, and community has been lost, unfortunately, as people have assimilated and lost the connection to their people and their Judaism. I believe one thing we can do when we return is to fight anti-Semitism with Semitism, and to learn and to become a passionate part, and a knowledgeable part of our people. Thank you.